my friends. Welcome to Cook Along Kitchen. If we haven't yet met, my name is Shannon Parks. I am your on-site health coach with UMR, your medical insurance carrier, and I'm here for our monthly virtual Cook Along Kitchen demo. Today, we're going to be making something really tasty, really easy, and really good for your blood sugar. So if you are somebody who is maybe pre-diabetic, type 1 diabetic, type 2 diabetic, gestational diabetes, or perhaps you have a diabetic family member, this meal is great for them or for you. Additionally, if you're looking to manage your weight, this meal is going to be really good for that too, and we'll talk about why. So let's talk about what we're making. Today we are making air fried peanut curried tofu with cauliflower rice. And I love this meal not only because it comes together really quickly and easily, but because it is plant powered. If you've tuned into any of our demonstrations yet this year, you know I have a huge focus on plant powered nutrition, plant-based meals, and helping you become more comfortable and familiar with plant-based cooking. So we will be having a completely plant-based meal today, and I'm really excited about that. And what's even more exciting is a lot of people who I speak with are concerned that if they go towards plant-based eating, they're not going to be getting enough protein. Well, what I can tell you is this meal packs 30 grams of protein per serving, which is amazing. It only has 24 grams of carbohydrates and 9 grams of fiber, which is phenomenal. And then we've got 29 grams of fat, most of that being healthy fat, with only 4.5 grams of saturated fat. Total calories is about 450 calories, which is spot on for where we want to be for a meal for most people. So let's talk about our ingredients and what we're going to be using. I did go ahead and purchase organic tofu. It is extra firm tofu. Whenever you're buying soy products, tofu, edamame, tempeh, seitan, etc., I always encourage you to buy organic. Um, Organic tofu really isn't that pricey. It's about $5 unless you can catch it on sale. Sometimes they have it 2 for $5 at Publix, but it's non-GMO, and soy products are one of the top sprayed with pesticides and herbicides and toxic chemicals that get into our body. So I have organic tofu. I have cubed it here already and set it in a marinade. You want to marinate it for at least 10 minutes, up to an hour or longer if you can. Marinade on this is really simple. It's 2 tablespoons of reduced sodium soy sauce, which I have here. Now you can replace this for tamari, which is a gluten-free soy sauce, or coconut aminos if that is more your style. And then a grated into that 2 tablespoons of soy sauce is 1 clove of garlic. And then we sprinkled it with about a teaspoon or two of curry powder. Now, this is a mild curry powder, and you can go as spicy on the curry powder spectrum as you'd like. So that'll be our protein, or our main protein, as a part of this dish. We're also going to be making a peanut sauce to use with our tofu. And in that peanut sauce, we're going to have creamy peanut butter, which I've got organic creamy peanut butter here. We're also going to be using a little teeny bit of sriracha. Now, you could always skip that if you're super sensitive to spice. We're only using about a teaspoon in the entire sauce recipe. It'll have a little bit of soy sauce in it as well, and some grated ginger, which I have a nub of grated ginger here. And then for our cauliflower rice, we're going to be using scallions. So I have 2 scallions. We'll be sauteing the whites and reserving the greens for garnish later. I have another clove of garlic that will be grated into that. A little bit more ginger will be grated into that. And then I have a package here of frozen riced cauliflower. Now, you could certainly rice your own cauliflower very easily using a food processor, or even just grating it over a box grater, or you can pick convenience. And the only ingredient in this is cauliflower, so there's no nasty seed oils, preservatives, additives, sodium, salt, none, or sodium or sugar is what I meant to say, none of that. So, this is really convenient, really quick, really easy. So we'll be using that today. So let's go ahead and get started. Because I have already marinated my tofu, I'm going to go ahead and pop it into my air fryer. Now, to help prevent any sticking, I am going to spray the air fryer basket with a little bit of spray olive oil. You could also use avocado oil. Again, if you've tuned into this show before, you know I'm a fan of either one of those for cooking. Avocado oil more so for grilling or higher temperature cooking. It has a higher smoke point than olive oil, meaning it is not going to smoke as quickly or as easily as olive oil might at a high temperature. So I've got this arranged in a single layer. It's cubed, meaning I took my block of tofu, I pressed the water out of it, I cut it in half, and then I sliced it into four and then four across. So 16 total cuts, 32 total pieces, and they're in my bin in a single layer here. I'm going to turn my air fryer on to a heat of 370 degrees, and we're going to set this for about 20 minutes. Now, it may not take that entire amount of time, but I am going to be checking on it and tossing it in between while it's cooking to make sure that it gets a nice crispy exterior to it. While that is going, let's go ahead and make our cauliflower rice. So for our cauliflower rice, I've got this skillet here heated to a medium-ish heat. I wanted it to get nice and warm, so I've been heating it ahead of our show recording. What we're going to do is we are going to add a little bit of olive oil, then some minced garlic and grated ginger and the scallion whites. So let's go ahead and get all of those things prepared. So I'm gonna take my ginger or my garlic rather, and I'm just gonna crush it down and remove the peel. And then I'm gonna give this just a rough mince. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's all gonna be chewed up and put into our bellies anyway. I suppose I should put my apron on. I did bring it today. There we go. I always manage to forget it when I bring in my stuff for cook along, but I did grab it today. So that's helpful and handy. Okay, let's get our garlic rough chopped here. And so this is just one clove, but honestly, I feel like garlic is one of those ingredients. Measure with your heart, right? I've seen so many memes on social media saying any recipe that only says one clove of garlic shouldn't be trusted. What I love about garlic, you've probably heard me say before, is that it's part of the allium family. So it's along the same lines of onions, scallions, leeks. And garlic has a lot of really beneficial properties. It is very anti-inflammatory. It's great for heart health, and it also has antibacterial properties to it. So with garlic, food really is medicine, and I love that about it. And we eat a lot of garlic in our house, not just because it tastes great and adds a lot of benefit, but because it really does help our bodies. So I've got my clove of garlic minced there. I'm gonna take just about a thumb, maybe a half thumb nub of ginger. I'm going to peel the ginger and then we're going to mince this up as well. And this is just going to give some nice flavor profile to our rice, our cauliflower rice. Otherwise, it just tastes like cauliflower. And the reason we're using cauliflower rice in the first place in this recipe is because traditional rice is a grain, as we know, and grains, as well as starchy vegetables, which are potatoes, peas, and corn, those are going to be your top contributors to raising blood sugar. And that is one of the things that we want to be mindful of when we're managing diabetes. I will also give you, if you're here or watching this before diabetes improvement through diet, I just dropped my garlic. Let's try, or my ginger. Let's try that again. Um, if you are here for diabetes improvement, I would encourage you if you are level two, to plug into the level two program. If you want more information on that, I'm happy to provide that for you. Level two is a type 2 diabetes management program, and it's got tons of amazing benefits. It is through your health insurance, and It's a free program to you. You get a coach with it. You get the continuous glucometer for free, which is a huge benefit in and of itself because those are several $100s. And if there's one thing that I could encourage you is to learn how to understand your blood sugar, right? And the only way to do that is to see what those numbers are in real time. Now, a lot of my patients will say, "Oh, but Shannon, I do finger stick." And what we're not realizing is that there is oftentimes a bell curve or some nature of a bell curve when it comes to blood sugar rising and falling after a meal. And a finger stick isn't giving us the whole picture, right? It's only giving us part of the picture. It's giving us one snapshot. And you may think you've caught, your blood sugar at its highest. It might still have a ways to go, or vice versa. You might have thought that, oh, I did my finger stick. My blood sugar was at a lower point and it may still have some dropping to do. So a continuous glucometer essentially takes a measure of your blood sugar every minute. Well, some devices are every minute, some are every 15 minutes, and it creates a graph for you so that you can see in real time the impact that your food choices have on your blood sugar. Okay, so we've got our ginger now minced. I've got my garlic minced. I'm just going to cut my scallion whites here. So I'm just going to cut off the root end and then slice these really thinly so that they can be sauteed in our pan. And before I start sauteing, I am going to check on our tofu. I can smell it. It smells really good. Alrighty, we'll set the rest of those scallions aside and we'll cut those up later. Let's check on our tofu and see how it's doing. It smells super yummy. Okay, it's gonna keep cooking. Let me put a little bit of olive oil in our pan here. Again, you could totally use avocado oil if you wanted to. That is a preference thing here. I'm gonna just swirl that olive oil around to coat my pan. And into that is going my garlic, my ginger, and my scallions.
Hey Shannon,
Yes, ma'am.
like an idiot, I am remote today, so you know what my request is going to be.
Oh, yes, there will be a portion reserved for you.
Thank you, my dear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so this one's gonna be really good. I can't wait for you to try it tomorrow, Kelly. All right, so we're just getting this stuff moving in the pan. My pan's over medium heat. I just want to make everything in this pan really, as Emerald will say, very happy. Want to get it nice and aromatic. If you were standing here with me, you might be drooling at this point because it just smells so good. In fact, our benefits director, True, has her office right on the other side of this room that I do this in, and she often follows her nose in here and says, "Hey, what is that yummy smell?" So I'm sure she'll find her way in here with all of these beautiful aromatics coming together. All right, I'm going to let that keep cooking for just a few more minutes. While that is going, let me chop up my greens, my scallion greens. I'm going to cut off the top edge of them. And then again, we're just going to thinly slice these so that they can be a pretty little garnish at the top of our plate. And same benefits here with the scallion greens as with the garlic, allium family. So autoimmune, anti-inflammatory, helps boost our immune system, just so good for us. Really easy to grow as well. If you've never tried growing them, they're so easy to grow. I was just talking to someone about that before this. Alrighty, so that's starting to look really good. You can tell that the garlic is starting to soften, the ginger is starting to soften, as well as my scallion whites. So we'll give that another minute or so before I add in our riced cauliflower. Let's make our peanut sauce. So for our peanut sauce, we're going to do 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. Now this is from BJ's, and BJ's has a very drippy peanut butter. You know how some peanut butters are way thicker than others, but you can tell this one is just really drippy. So I am actually not going to be adding any water to thin this out. But if you have more of like a thicker kind of peanut butter, like some of them can be, then you may need to add a little bit of water to your peanut sauce to thin it out. But that's something that you can gauge as you make your recipe. Okay, so we've got 2 tablespoons of peanut butter in there. I'm going to do a teaspoon of sriracha. So just a little squirt here, just a little dab. Kelly, I'll keep the peanut sauce off of yours for you. I'll put it on the side. I know you're really sensitive to spice.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to dump our cauliflower rice in, just rip the top right off, and in it goes. Again, I'm using frozen for convenience sake, but you do not have to. You could certainly rice your own cauliflower really easily. I, in fact, typically buy this. I have organic riced cauliflower at BJ's. That's where we do most of our bulk shopping. And it comes in individual pouches that have maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 servings or so, 3 or 4 servings in there. And you get, I think it's 4 of those pouches per package. And it's all organic, which is really nice at a pretty good price point too. So, all right, we're just gonna get this moving around here. I'm gonna make sure that our heat stays nice and hot. And our tofu is really starting to brown nicely. So we'll keep that going as well, just shaking it around, getting it going in our so it can get crispy on all sides. Now, if you find that your tofu doesn't crisp up, you can always toss it in a little bit of cornstarch if you desire. I did not do that today, but that is totally an optional thing that you could do if you wanted to. All right, let's add back to our peanut sauce.
Hey Shannon,
Let's, yes,
the tofu, I never bought it. So what am I looking for when I go to a store?
that's a great question, Debbie. So, tofu, you're going to find it in the produce section. In the refrigerated part of the produce section. If you're a public shopper, it's typically against the back wall. Most of their stores are kind of laid out the same. But it comes in a square container and it's got like a film over top, and you will look for organic tofu. I always tell people if you're going with soy, go organic if it's in your budget. Firm or extra firm or super firm rather is going to give you the ability to like cube it or shred it or whatever you want to do with it. There's also silken tofu, which is a lot smoother. That one is a soft texture, and that's not going to cube up at all. And so, excuse me, if you're wanting to use it in the way that I am, you would do either a firm or extra firm, super firm, whatever they might call it. And then you just drain it. You can press it if you want to. And I did press mine to get some extra liquid out. You don't
Okay.
have to press it by any means. Is that helpful?
Yeah, because I've actually never bought it. I've never made anything with it before. So
Yeah,
it's something new.
good. Yay, I love that. All right, we're gonna grate some ginger into this. And what I like about tofu too is that it takes the flavor of really like whatever you're putting it with. So whatever seasoning you put on the outside, whatever marinade you put, like today again, I made like a little soy sauce type marinade. So it's a very versatile plant protein, and I find that it can be really yummy. I used to be kind of afraid of tofu, but I've explored it more over more recent years and have found that I really enjoy it. My family has started to like it too, which is surprising, especially because most of you know I have little kids in my house. Okay, so we've got our peanut butter, we've got a little bit of sriracha, we've got some grated ginger. I'm actually going to add a splash of soy sauce to this as well. That's how I make my peanut sauce at home. So I'm going to add just a little splash of soy sauce here. Perfect, beautiful. Okay. Yum. That looks good. Our rice cauliflower is starting to soften as well, which is what we're looking for. So, when we're looking to manage our blood sugar, we want to be mindful of the carbohydrate component at our meal. Now, because tofu is made from beans, it does have some component of carbohydrate to it. Some of the other foods that we're having in this meal also have a component of carbohydrate to them, but they are not predominantly carbohydrates like a grain or potato, peas, corn are. And so this meal is going to cause less of a blood sugar spike, which then causes less demand for insulin. Insulin is a hormone in your body that floods when we eat carbohydrates. So the higher our blood sugar rises from the food or beverage we consumed, the more insulin that is released. And the more insulin that's released, the more likely we are to be in a fat storage mode versus a fat burning mode because insulin is our fat storage hormone. So what it does is it takes all those blood sugar molecules, it drives them into the cell where they're to be used for energy for all the things that we go and do every single day. However, at the end, when our body has kind of reached, our cells have reached their capacity for how much blood sugar that they need or can handle, insulin says, okay, all of you leftover blood sugar cells, you need to go off to the liver where you're going to be packaged up and stored as body fat for future. And so we want to be really mindful. The other thing that we want to be mindful of is over time, the more spikes in blood sugar that we have based on the foods that we're choosing or the beverages we're choosing, that impacts your A1C, which you see on your biometric labs, right? Or maybe your doctor checks your A1C because you're at risk. Maybe you have family history of diabetes or something of the like. So we want to just be kind of mindful of that in that um, the foods that we're eating directly impact our blood sugar, directly impact our A1C, which then can impact what medications we need to be on, our vision and kidney health, a lot of different things. So I love this meal because it takes a really versatile vegetable, cauliflower, and helps you to feel like you're still getting some sort of grain base without the carbohydrate load that comes with that grain. So our cauliflower rice is done. Got our peanut sauce done. I would say our tofu is just about done. I'm going to go ahead and chop some cashews for the top. This recipe calls for peanuts, but I actually didn't have any peanuts. And so I am just going to use some chopped cashews. Excuse me. I'm going to use some chopped cashews to garnish. And again, this is, I was just talking to other people this morning about cost savings on groceries. This is one of the ways to save the cost on groceries, right? Like I didn't have peanuts. So to save cost on this meal, I chose to just use cashews as my topping, my little garnish at the end instead of going and buying peanuts. And cashews are a perfectly fine substitute as a garnish. So there's little workarounds and little hacks like that that you can do to help save cost on recipes. All right, while our tofu is finishing, what questions can I answer for you? Are you looking forward to trying this? Have you ever tried cauliflower rice? Maybe you're a fan, maybe you're open to trying it. Tell me where you stand.
I have definitely had it. I like it. But I have a question about the tofu. Have you ever tried boiling your tofu?
I have not.
I'm hearing that's a way to do it that is intriguing. Boiling it
Interesting.
first instead of having to press it, as a way to boil it like in salted water, or
Yeah,
broth as a way to introduce, pull out just the water and introduce more flavor into it, and then
interesting.
cubing it up and air frying it. So I'm gonna try it. I didn't know if you'd ever tried it.
Give it a whirl. Let me know because I am very intrigued about that. Very, very intrigued. Alrighty, so I am going to put a little bit of garnish on this and come around and show you what we've made. I will say our peanut sauce a little thicker than I'd like. And so I'm going to add some water to it. I don't have water in here with me, but I do have some in my office. I'm going to add some water to it and then drizzle it on top, and that'll be our finisher. But I wanted to show you what our little plate looks like. I can find my camera. There we go. So we've got our air fried tofu. We have our cauliflower rice with our ginger and garlic in it. We've got some scallions on top for garnish and some chopped cashews. Roughly 450 calories if you eat 50% or half of this recipe. 30 grams of protein. I want to say it was like 25 grams of carbohydrates. Let me see. 20, okay, so 450 calories for half of the recipe, 29 grams of fat, 24 grams of carbohydrates with 9 grams of fiber, and then 30 grams of protein. So a really well-balanced meal that came together in what, 25 minutes. We can't ask for anything better than that. So I'm really glad that you decided to join me. I hope you'll try this recipe out. Consider joining me again next month. We're going to make no bake summer sweet treat that I'm really excited about. And I can't wait to see you then. Until then, take care.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Is there another way to make the tofu besides an air fryer?
Yeah, totally. You could roast it, you could saute it, you could sear it in a pan. You don't have to
Okay.
have an air fryer. That's a great
Okay.
question.
All right. Good. Thank
Yep, yep, yeah. You could sear it really nicely on a grill. You could sear it really nicely in a pan. You could broil it, bake it. I mean, it's very versatile. So that's a great question. Is that Pola?
you. Yes, it is.
Okay,
And so
good,
I
good.
bought some a while back, and it's been in my fridge, and I haven't looked at the expiration. Do you know if do they tend to expire? Does it tend to expire quickly?
It has an expiration date. I think mine had like a 2 month. Let me see.
Pretty long
Use.
lasting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I'll go look. Yeah.
Yeah, I would look. I was just trying to see if the package I've thrown away had any
Yeah.
info on it. But yeah, it is pretty long lasting. And I've heard as well, I have not tried it, but I've heard you can also freeze it and then
Yes.
Okay.
pull it out for
Good to
later
know.
use and it doesn't change texture too. So keep that in your
Actually,
back pocket.
freezing it makes it even easier to get the water out.
Oh,
Oh.
there you
It
go.
changes the I guess you want to call it the holes, like a sponge has holes. It
Mm-hmm.
changes that, and it is a lot easier to press the water out. So definitely recommend
Very
freezing. And
interesting.
Polo, before I got my air fryer, which by the way I did with my um, service points in the service awards catalog,
Actually,
just
I do have
FYI.
one. It's just like in a top cabinet. So I was kind of
Yeah.
just being
But
lazy
we used
about
to
it.
do it on a pan on the stove all the
Yeah, yeah.
time, just
Okay.
Yeah.
relatively high heat. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Great conversation, great questions. I hope you'll consider joining me again next month for our no bake summer sweet treats. Check out this recipe. I'll send you the recipe and the recording, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Be well, my friends. Bye bye.